Hello, and welcome to Knights in the Night Actual Play Podcast. This 5th edition D&D adventure, The Heretic, was written and run by your DM, Scott. And now, please enjoy episode 492, titled, Absolutely True, Let's See How She Do. Actual play begins immediately.
Hello, this is Scott, your DM for this 5e adventure, The Heretic. With me tonight, starting on my right, is...
I am Tom, playing Alder Rusha, a cleric of Amira, and a skill-seeking rogue.
Hi, I'm Mike, playing Marduk, a male half-orc fighter, graduate of the Academy, and an eldritch knight of the Fist of Amira.
I am Jim, playing Grodor, a hobgoblin warlock and one of the frustrated Fists of Amira searching for truth, knowledge, and the hiding Harpy.
I'm John. I'm playing Melody, a female human cleric, the third of the exemplar family Harmony. I'm an ex-ambassador turned political operative through the Fists of Amira.
I'm Thomas. I'll be playing Gabrielle de Angelis. She's a female human paladin and a holy Fist of Amira who's unknowingly taken the first steps toward her destined oath of conduct.
All right, where last we left off, you had departed the city of Iron Sword. Before you departed, you felt a tremble in the ground, a small earthquake that is not completely uncommon in the mountainous regions of Amira, but it was startled you nonetheless, and you continued on your way through the mountain pass for several hours, past lunch, and then into midday, when a Soul Guard soldier came running around a turn, breathlessly asking for your help. Harpy had charmed his squadron of Soul Guard, and he was the only one to be able to fight off the dulcet tones of the Harpy and ran to look for help. You immediately responded, running to and then engaging the Harpy in battle in a narrow part of the pass where some rocks had fallen. You noticed that there were a good number of soldiers there, the Soul Guard, who were digging out the rocks at the Harpy's charming bequest, and seemingly trying to reveal a cavern or a cave of some sort that they were trying to uncover that had been blocked by a rock slide, most likely caused, of course, by the tremors that had occurred earlier that day. A quick, fierce battle ensued where Melody took the brunt, I believe twice, both from the Harpy itself and from her charming effect on Gabrielle, and was very much wounded during the battle. Right now, as it stands, our heroes had dealt her several critical hits, her being the Harpy, and she had retreated up to a ledge 80 feet up and beyond the vision of our heroes. Still being engaged, though, by the Soul Guard, those who are not digging out were attacking and defending those who were. Everyone has now resisted the Song of the Harpy through the help of Alder's loud thaumaturgy spell that helped the saving throws of our heroes who were under her spell briefly. So we find ourselves right now in a situation where you're engaged with the Soul Guard, but not with the Harpy itself. That's where we're going to start off tonight, unless anyone has any questions or comments.
We all had a little bit of classes to help us identify animals. Did we already make a check to see what we knew about harpies? I kind of think we did, and that I critted.
Yes, yeah. You did, and made a really good roll. That a brood mother is a more aggressive and rare type of harpy, more powerful. Her song can seduce and charm more than just an individual. It can do a large group of individuals, much like a harpy can, but the effects last much longer. They can last for up to a whole day. Usually when a harpy is singing, you break out of it after a few minutes or something along those lines. It's a shorter-lived type of charm. The brood mother is much more lengthy and much more robust in her ability to charm individuals and hold them under her sway for a long period of time. She also is stronger, larger, and usually more cunning than her more typical standard harpy brethren.
Pretty smart, then. Good to know.
Okay.
That satisfies my curiosity, thank you.
Excellent. The brood mother herself is completely out of sight of anyone, although her charm still lingers on the Soul Guard who are protecting her. That takes us to Grodor at 20.
There is a tree right above this cave. Could a blast set that tree down the hill, or is there a large branch that's hanging over the cliff edge that I can try to knock off and have it fall in the way of these people who are trying to clear stuff out?
I'm going to say that there's definitely branches that hang over. Nothing that could block an entire entrance. They're not that thick because the tree's not that large. But certainly there are tree branches that you could try to dislodge to fall upon those individuals who are digging out the cave entrance.
Yeah, I'm going to try to slow or hinder their progress by hitting an eldritch blast into the branches that's right above the cave entrance there.
Okay. You had effectively stopped two of them from digging out last turn by debris that you've blown into their eyes through your eldritch. Was it? It's not an eldritch.
Yes.
Eldritch blast? Okay. You did hinder them last turn, which blew a bunch of rocks and debris and dust into their eyes and stopped them for a turn. However, two more have come up in their place, helping them as well. So it's becoming harder and harder to stop progress from being made, but go ahead and make a roll for an attack roll and then damage to try to drop a limb of the tree on those individuals.
Oh, I think that'll work perfectly.
I rolled an 18.
You hit the branch. How much damage do you do to the branch?
6 force damage.
Because you were going for a slightly larger branch, you shear off a good portion of the branch, but it wasn't quite enough damage to rip the entire branch off. It kind of got dislodged and pushed to the side, but not fallen all the way, unfortunately.
Alrighty.
Do you have anything else you want to try to attempt, whether it be a move or a bonus action?
Not that I know of.
Go ahead with Marduk at 17.
The captain to the east of me, if I remember correctly, he had been pretty heavily hurt, right? But he was still up and around?
He was actually not heavily hurt. He was struck, but he's a captain of the guard, so he's a relatively formidable individual.
Right.
And it was the Harpy herself that got slammed a couple times really hard.
I'm going to move 5 feet to flank in between me and the other soul guard that was on our side, and I'm going to attack him with the intent to incapacitate.
Right. You only need to announce that if you bring him down to 0. When you bring him down to 0, you say, I'm knocking him out, I'm not killing him. Besides that, there's no differentiation. You don't keep different damage tracks of...
okay, no problem. I just
good.
wanted to state my intention. Okay.
That's good.
Then I will attack, and I rolled a 19 to hit.
Okay. So using the blunt end of your spear, you strike him for how much damage?
I strike him for 9 points of damage.
Okay. You strike him right in his ribs, and you see the air go out of him as he basically oofs as he leans forward. It was a good shot, but he's still quite able to continue with the fight.
Okay.
That will take us then to Alder at 17.
Okay, so I have been doing a vocal attempt to block out any voice from the Harpy by using thaumaturgy, which makes it exceptionally loud.
Right. And that does not, thaumaturgy, I don't think, requires concentration to maintain, does it not? I don't think it does.
That's a good question.
It might not be important right this second. It's only important if you take damage or get distracted in some way. So
right, which I have not. The thing that I intend to do is continue doing that spell, but I'm going to change the verbiage to a request of the Harpy that she come forward and allow us to help save her children, but we also have to deal with the fact that she's controlling some individuals.
So a persuasion check, just because you're loud doesn't mean you're more convincing in this particular instance. So I'm going to say, it would be a normal check, not one with advantage.
Except I'm spending one of my 2 inspirations.
Okay.
And I rolled a natural 20.
On your second die.
As Alder does. He's just good at convincing people.
Okay. Are you doing anything else in your turn, moving and or a bonus action?
I'm going to move into a state where it would be easier for her to see me, and she's on the north side of this passage, so I am kind of moving in the center, but to the south. Just playing out in the open.
Okay, that is the end of Alder's turn. That takes us to Gabrielle at 11.
Mel, how you doing?
Ow. I only ever took damage from you, actually, as I looked it up.
Really? The Harpy didn't come in? Oh, she missed you
tried.
Twice, didn't she?
She whiffed.
Yes. She totally whiffed with 2 major attacks. I totally misled everyone.
Yeah, I have 10 damage on my character, which is half my health. But that all came from a hammer from my best friend, so...
I can't make it to you to heal you, so you shouldn't have run so far.
I was scared of you?
And rightfully so.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to hit Melody with a spell called Sanctuary.
Okay.
Casts my bonus action. Gabrielle reveals the silver mirrored back surface of her shield to her own eyes and murmurs a faint prayer, which gives Melody the benefit that anyone who takes a swing at her needs to take a will check. And maybe they won't get to.
And what is the saving throw on the will check if someone opts to attack her?
DC 12, not very high, but these guys fell to Harpy spells, so they're not very good. I don't even know what that kind of protection looks like. We'll say a luminescent chain, pale, see-through, but floating around you to ward off the weapons of your enemies.
Nice. A chain.
Just like some steel chain links that float around, spinning in an aura around you.
I love it.
Gabrielle scrambles to the north up towards the rocks, has a hard time scrambling up to the north of Marduk, and then takes a swing over his shoulder at the captain.
Ooh, okay.
Rolling a total of 12. Yeah.
Unfortunately, you had to change your trajectory a bit because of Marduk in front of you. And the 12 bounces off of the armor. You struck a blow, but you weren't able to get much behind it because you were kind of compensating because you were trying to attack around Marduk. So, unfortunately, it doesn't really hit home to any effect.
That is the end of my turn.
Which takes us to Melody at 6.
I am halfway up this rock slide. Up and to my right are a bunch of Soulsguard that have been charmed into trying to dig out these children, the Harpy's brood. I'm trying to remember if I need to roll to get up the rest of this rock formation.
It will be a climbing check.
I've got an 11.
Okay. Go ahead and move yourself 1 square to the north. You made some progress, but you didn't make a lot of progress. It's the Soul Guard's turn, so the Soul Guard is going to move into position to continue to dig out. The 2 that moved need to make climbing check. 1 did not succeed. The other did not succeed. They rolled terribly, so they go tumbling right past you, Mel, down the rocks, and they take some damage. So the 2 soldiers just took some bumps and bruises, nothing major, as they slid down 10 feet of the rock slide. The captain of the guard is going to pivot to his left or to the east 5 feet and attack Marduk. He rolls a 19. Does that hit Marduk?
That does hit.
And he rolls 5 damage, Marduk.
I'm going to spend my reaction to subtract from that because I don't think I'm going to use it for anything else this turn.
Okay.
Roll D10 and subtract 6.
So you take no damage.
Her shield takes the brunt of it. Nice.
Or the halberd gets in the way.
Or the halberd, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's the halberd because the distance is...
Right.
Yeah. It fails to clip into him on the swing, but on the back swing it manages to knock his blade aside as it comes to strike you.
That's a great talent that Gabrielle has.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
If I could just stand next to people who are actually squishy, it would save their lives.
Yeah, anytime you don't have to roll a die 20 is better.
Marduk, one of the move forward north to attack you 5 feet. They roll a 13, which I don't think is a hit.
No, my armor class is 17.
Okay. Your chainmail protects you, and it's a glancing blow that does no damage.
All right, great.
And the other Soul Guard, who is the only one who is actually not charmed, charges forward and attempts to grapple the captain of the guard. screaming out, "Get a hold of yourself!" And he goes and he tackles the captain of the guard. So he makes a strength check, which is a 17. The captain of the guard makes a strength check, which is 21. So he is pushed back and he does not successfully grapple the captain of the guard. We end that round. We start with the brood mother at initiative level 21. She flies back into view right at the edge of the cliff, looking toward Alder's projected voice, says, "Stand back. All of you stand back." Takes us to Grodor at 20.
I'm waiting to see what happens. So I will hold my action.
What is the action that you're holding?
If she attacks anybody, then I'm going to probably blast at her.
Okay. So Eldritch Blast being held, and if she makes any kind of threatening move in any way, you're going to unleash at her. You now have a move that you can take if you want, or you can stand fast where you're at.
Oh, I like where I'm at.
Okay. That takes us to Marduk at 17.
I will also ready in action. If I'm either attacked by the guards or her, I will, then respond or attack, but I will hold my attack until I'm attacked.
Got it. That takes us to Alder at 17.
I continue speaking with the Harpy.
Got it.
I am not taking a chance that she won't hear it. And I am maintaining the thaumaturgy volume, telling her, "You must promise to me now that when your children are released, you and they will leave, and you will not damage any of these, because right now, were you to do anything, you would be hit many times. And I don't think we want to be hurt, and I don't think you want to be hurt. Do you promise to do that?"
I promise once my cave is cleared to retreat inside with my brood, if you will stand down and move away. That is her reply. I'm going to go through the rest of this round just to make sure everyone's on the same page and wants to be peaceful, and then we'll go from there. Alder, is your turn over at this point?
I'm readying an action, but I'm not pointing the crossbow directly at her. I am holding it in front of me, but ready to go the minute she does something that will cause damage to anyone.
Okay. That takes us to Gabrielle at 11.
I'm down for peace as well. I was going to try and be convincing, but it seems like you got it on lockdown. I guess I could roll for, what is it, to check if someone is lying? Insight? How truthful is this Harpy being?
Yeah, you can go ahead and make an insight check. It's usually body language and facial expressions, and she's kind of far away from you. She's 80 feet up. But I'll still allow the roll based on maybe body language sound viable for that insight check.
Okay. Ooh, total of 22, 19 on the roll plus 3.
Okay.
Nice. Alder is typical in that he says things and he just believes people believe them. But I might glance over at Gabrielle because she's better at interpreting than I am. I'm just better at forcing people to do what I want them to.
Well, Gabrielle, you think she means what she says. You think she would retreat to her cave if given the opportunity. She looks wounded. She looks exhausted. She seems to be parlaying in good faith, is what you get from that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like I said, I don't think I can shout past this distance when the booming voice of my friend is also demanding things, so I will ready in action to wall up the guard if he keeps coming up the slope.
Okay. Melody?
I just limp down over to Gabrielle.
Okay.
Oh, schnapps. You're right. I healed my friend.
And if I can, I'm going to get past her.
You
Just
can.
put her between me and these types.
Since you're not climbing up and you just move
this
across
is
the rocks,
my back
it's just a
against the
double
wall.
move. It's just double moves. You feel more secure with your back against that northern wall of the cliff face and hoping that this ends amicably and doesn't continue since you're in such bad shape right now. Anything else, Melody?
I'm probably putting the safety on the crossbow, making sure the trigger doesn't automatically pull or anything like that.
Okay. Good to know. That goes then to the guardsmen and the soul guard. The ones you can see at least, almost as if their eyes are blank and they're just hypnotized in some way. They start moving their way very slowly over and up towards the cave entrance. Others try to do it as well. Wow, natural 1. No progress at all. He slides down 5 more feet.
If we are all stepping away from combat, maybe we can step out of initiative.
Yeah, I'm just doing the end of the last person to move in the initiative round is the soul guard, and they might have attacked you, so it was just important, I thought, to go through their turn. One slides down further, really injuring himself and breaking an ankle, and the other attempts to climb up to where the others are, and he successfully does so. So there are now 3 soul guard at the entrance to the tunnel, or excuse me, the cavern, and they're digging aggressively, removing stones and stuff, and more of the opening is becoming apparent. It'll probably just be a matter of maybe even seconds, but at the worst minutes before it's unveiled.
I'm probably changing my drop to that branch that I hit before, just in case if anything flies out to attack us, I'm ready to drop the branch on it.
Okay.
If she goes in, that's fine. She said she's going to go in. If something comes out, I may fire.
She takes to the air and moves to the upper lip of the cavern, so she's like at its ceiling of the cavern that's leading into the mountainside, and she's perched just above the entrance, waiting for it to be opened up. She keeps looking over nervously at your group, and she'll occasionally hiss in your direction as she's nervous at how close
I flip her off.
you are. The soul guard that is not hypnotized or not charmed moves back
So we're
towards
just going to
Alder.
watch the soul guard with a broken leg just kind of try to claw his way up with broken fingernails.
Exactly.
Yeah, I trust this lady to have a cave right near an opening.
Actually, now that she's within talking distance, I think it might be time to open up dialogue about how she needs to move her freaking nest. This is not tenable, but I guess I'll talk to Alder about that personally. So I walk over to Alder while everyone's watching the slow takedown of the rock slide. We need to convince this Harpy brood to move her nest. We can't have her in the pass with these witless soul guard able to be possessed at any given moment. It's not safe. I agree that murder is probably not the best solution, but we need to get her to move.
I would agree. Is there any way we can clear those rocks without, for instance, having Grodor blast them into the chamber? Is there any kind of action we can do? We've got people that are damaged here that are trying to climb back up.
I used to have a spell, but not available right now.
I think if we got any closer, she would take it as hostility at this point. It's best to let the soul guard finish their work, and hopefully she'll release.
What was that? Who's wrong?
It was the soul guard falling back down.
I dropped my
With a broken
lay
ankle.
on hands on Mel. How much healing points do you need?
I am damaged 16. I do not need all that back.
If I attempt to get to the gentleman who's fallen down the hill, is there any movement by the guards to prevent me from doing that?
It's been a while, so they're probably, for the most part, the captain is up there now as well. The other guardsman is attempting to move up. He rolled a natural 1, so he goes tumbling down, taking 2d6 damage and dying.
And breaks his neck.
Okay. Gabrielle begins screaming at the Harpy. These are not puppets or toys for which you to throw away. They are men. You are wasting lives. Her hands are visibly shaking on her pole hammer. Drop this spell and we'll open the cavern. If you don't, I will kill you.
You just saw one of our friends here die. You said you wouldn't kill anybody. Do what's being asked. Gabrielle did a better job of intimidating than I did of persuading.
Yes. What did you roll, Gabrielle?
I rolled a total of 14, sorry.
And I rolled an 8.
Can spare the dying and a healing help this person who fell down the hill?
It could keep them freshly dead until someone can heal them.
You said dead. I thought you meant just literally bottomed out.
They got to 0.
No problem.
They are
We're
now
making-
bleeding out.
Gabrielle's rushing over there, because I'm the best medic there is today.
Yes, and that spell would freeze them at 0. They're not making death rolls anymore. There is a benefit.
She charges her way down the path and to the end of the domes to start working on this guy. I don't need to waste spells. I can just spend a few more points of lay on hands, which only takes an action. I'm not completely out, but that man should be in positive HP if I don't misunderstand how it works. 2 points of lay on hands, and if he's not doing better at that point, I still have spells to spend.
How many
He
did I
is-
receive?
You said you didn't need anything, but I also figured combat was over, so I filled you up 16.
That's a lot.
Impressive. The guy on the ground wakes up. It seems as if having been unconscious or dying and then healed and brought back has ended the charm, and he is awake and cognizant, looking around, confused, trying to stand up.
Broken leg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I hold him to the ground and I say, you'll recover fine, but we're not time for you to get up yet.
We must fight this thing. We must kill it.
I'm right in the middle of screaming at it. How did it react to my intimidation?
Well, what happened was a clearing that was big enough for a body was developed, and you screamed at her, and she didn't say anything. She just flew into her cave.
Okay, I'm gonna go kill that thing. We've made our mistakes. You got any objections, Alder?
Can't we just close the hole back up?
Well, the guardsmen are still, for the most part, still under her sway. If you went to march up there, it would probably be met with resistance.
I am screaming. You said you would drop your control.
You hear back out, I said no such thing. I said I would release you, and I will release them once you are gone. They are my protection.
That is not what you said. And if you want that entire cave to be dead, then keep them under your control. Is that what you want?
Go ahead and make an intimidation check.
I'm not really good at this. Well, let's hope.
Well, you're
Maybe
feeling
the same.
passionate about it. Maybe it came across better than you thought.
Oh, yeah, 18. That's pretty damn good.
She doesn't respond to your threats. And the soldiers start pushing rocks back up into the cave entrance.
So they're blocking it up.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm good with that. If they block the cave entrance and she lets go of the spell, then I'm good with just walking away, and it is what it is for now. I don't know. You could tell the next soul guard on the way that there's a harpy nest here, and if they want to deal with it, they can.
They took an entire patrol down, leaving only one survivor. Tell us what was happening.
If they're prepared for it, they should be able
I'm
to
not
deal with it.
sacrificing our opportunity to solve this problem now that she's proven she can't be negotiated with. And Gabrielle begins to charge up the hill.
Okay.
15, 20.
That's going to require an athletics check, please.
Absolutely true. Let's see how she do. Not so good. I just rolled a total of 9.
That's missing by more than 5, which means you make limited progress and then tumble back. So take 1d6 of damage and put yourself back 10 feet for having slipped and fallen.
She rolls haphazardly down the hill and then pounds her fist into the dirt as she gets ready to do the next part of her plan. Anyone else want to take an action first?
Are we re-engaging in aggressive negotiations?
I'm moving up behind a rock and just waiting to see what happens. If something comes out, I'm shooting it.
Marduk will move. Everything is difficult terrain, right? So,
If
or do I
it's-
have to roll every 5 feet?
Not every 5 feet. You need to make a roll for the overall turn. So
Okay.
for 15 feet, because your movement's probably 30.
Right.
So go ahead and move 15 feet and then make your roll and see how you did. Athletics check. It's a DC of 15.
I rolled a 16.
You scampered successfully up across the stones towards
Now-
the entrance.
It's not 80 feet from where I'm at right now, is it?
You probably went about 30 feet up in the air as you
Okay.
were going. So you clambered across, a pretty good distance. captain of the guard pulls back out his sword and attacks you.
All right.
Again, his attack just can find no way through your chainmail. He's hitting you and battering you about, but he's not doing any damage to you. The other 3 guardsmen continue to push stones and pick stones up and place stones over, trying to block the entrance again. And the one on the bottom has passed out from exhaustion and a broken ankle.
You poor fools. Okay.
Let's go back to initiative, I guess. The broodmother is at 21, and as far as you know, nothing happens. Marduk, you could make a perception check because you're very close to the entrance.
I rolled a 14.
You hear at least 3 other voices speaking in broken common. We must get out. We must get out. The broodmother telling them, no, we stay here. We battle here. That's what you hear as you are close by and now engaged in battle on a precipitous slope with the captain of the guard.
Okay.
That takes us to Grodor at 20.
I guess I'm just going to stay here and watch and see what happens.
Okay,
If anything flies out, I'm going to try to shoot it.
that works. Marduk, 17.
Are the other soul guards continuing to seal up the cave, or are they
Yes.
also attacking? Okay.
The other 3 soul guards right now that you are not adjacent to are all pushing and grabbing and hauling rocks to the cave entrance, trying to cover it back up.
All right. I have a sleep spell that I'm going to try to drop right in the middle of them, and creatures within 20 feet of a point I choose are affected in ascending order of their current hit points. I will roll 5d8.
From the lowest to the highest.
Okay. The one farthest away from you, Marduk, his eyelids flutter and he falls, and I'm going to roll a die 20 luck die to see if he's able to stand upright, like able to kind of like fall down controlled sleep, or whether
falls
he tumbles
forward
down.
or falls backwards.
Yeah, whether he tumbles down. So I'm basically going to have it be a die 20. If it's 11 and above, he's good and he's going to be safe.
Okay.
15. So he crumples face first and slides maybe 3 or 4 feet down a bit. He's definitely out of action at this point. He's asleep.
Just the one?
Just the one.
Oh, okay. All right. I was kind of hoping that would do a little bit more than that.
Does he continue to hear the broodmother? Because she was pretty low health.
Whoever
You
might be in the
don't
cave.
know. You know that the guardsman fell asleep. So he must have had the lowest
Okay.
amount.
I'll stabilize myself here. I'm not going to try to maneuver around this guy and give him an opportunity to attack on the cliffside.
Okay. That takes us to Alder, 17.
I am going to the base of the hill next to Mel, 10 feet away from where the actual opening is. Well, it's 60 feet up.
Yes.
I am talking both to Mel and Gabrielle. Gabrielle, you're going to hurt yourself. Is there something we can do, like put something in the cave, like a flaming log, so that it fills with smoke and they have no option but to come out?
I certainly don't have the means to do that. And there's a bunch of soul guards standing in the way as body shields.
I could drop a tree branch on their heads, and then we could set that on fire.
Soul guard. But yeah, that's an option.
Mel, is there any way I could break the control on those soul guards?
I want to use words one more time to try to break through to her. If you can give me some support, Alder, some ideas for what to say. What did you find works in negotiation with her so far?
I will explain to you. It's her children that are important to her. That's the thing. So if you can somehow make it an important thing to her, she's going to be more likely to do it. There you go. That's my help action.
Damn.
Which then takes us from Alder to Gabrielle at 11.
Gabrielle uses her channel divinity power that she has yet to. Emissary of Peace. Augment your presence with divine power as a bonus action. Grant yourself +5 bonus to charisma and persuasion check for the next 10 minutes. So she mutters a brief prayer while touching the fist of Amira that she wears across her neck. And then her voice echoes with divine grace as she says, I will give you the latitude for your actions that you were concerned for your children, but you should be concerned for them now. If you leave and drop your control of these Soul Guard, take your children with you, I promise, and that is the promise of a Fist of Amira, that none of you will come to harm. And then I actually roll, though, and see how well I do.
Okay. And you have advantage because of the helping action of Alder.
I rolled a 13 plus 5 is 18.
Pretty nice roll.
Which means I'm not going to shoot anything if it flies out.
I would appreciate it if you didn't. I would have to beat you up as a paladin who apparently had to break their promise.
You hear her say, leave, and I will release them as I promised before. I said leave, and I will release them. That is the deal.
You lied before.
Releasing is no longer enough. You need to leave your nest. This is not a place you can stay. If you don't, well, I didn't roll intimidation. If you don't, my promise can't hold true. I can't protect your children, and neither can you. And we wrote my 18 stand, because I rolled.
Yeah, we let the 18 stand. She said what she said. Leave, and she would release the guards, is what she's replying. And that's the only reply that you get from her.
Well, I try really polite. I don't know what to do about it.
Well, you got her to talk. She wasn't talking at all. It was something.
That's a bonus action and an action, and guess I'll move. But I'm just going to move 15, which I think means I don't have to make a climb roll.
If you move one square, I'm going to say no roll. If you move 15, that's the same as moving 30 because it's double movement for each. So you're moving at full speed.
All right.
I am really concentrating on this half a branch that's still hanging up there, so that way I'll have advantage if I try to hit it. And I'm telling everybody else, let me know if you want me to drop this branch on these guards to help try to clear them out of the way or stop them from what they're doing.
I appreciate it.
Are you moving 5 feet, Gabrielle?
No, I have better movement tricks for if I need to get up there. I'm not going to hard scrabble my way up there and fall 3 times.
Okay. And that takes us to Melody at 6.
I'm fully healed. I am going to move up this cliff where the guard are trying to seal her in, and going to roll, I guess it's not acrobatics, so athletics. What is acrobatics if not climbing up a wall?
You can substitute on some cases with DM's approval to use an acrobatic check as opposed to athletics. I'm perfectly fine with using acrobatics instead. However, you moved 20 feet, not 15. I think your movement is 30, is it not? Or is it more?
I can get in crossbow range. There's a whole verticality to this that I can't exactly read without asking.
It looks like you moved 5 feet more. You moved 20 feet instead of 15
I don't have
feet.
trouble moving less. My question is, do I even have a shot then?
If you make a successful acrobatics check and move there, you will be about halfway up the slide. So you'll be about 40 foot off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So the cave opening is about 10 feet high. So it's at about the 70 foot mark. So you're still 30 feet below it. And it's only 10 feet away from you as far as distance goes to the north. The very entrance ceiling is what you have an angle on at that particular location.
Well, I do have the power to rebound shot. It is in fact magic, but that's going to put me at disadvantage for sure. I have rolled 20 for this.
Which gets you scrambling up halfway up the ledge now.
Cool. I am going to bounce a shot off the ceiling of this cave and rebound it into the Harpy's chest.
Okay. Since you have no idea where they're at inside that cave, I'm going to say your attack is at disadvantage. It's blinded, and you're basically going to take your best shot.
Yep. I am spending some magic point to make this happen.
Okay. So close.
It was a 20, but then it was an 8.
And you have to accept the 8.
Indeed.
Which you can tell with the spell that you used and the rebound that you did with the arrow, you magically compel it to go flying into the cave
that was
mouth.
my last magical point, so I think thematically this is a big sizzle. It kind of sputters in the air and goes askew.
Make it
No,
sound more
Mel
impressive.
just curses out loud the god that has failed her.
Can you use inspiration to reroll?
I don't have it.
Oh, there you go.
Well, fortunately I do, so I will grant Melody my inspiration because I had to.
Make a regular attack roll, not one at disadvantage. I'm going to say his inspiration was so impressive, and he encouraged you to really aim on your shot.
This time it is an 18.
Okay. Roll for damage.
That is 5 piercing damage to the damaged Harpy mom.
All right. Well, 5 damage to a creature within the cave complex. Because you don't
Sure.
know if it was her or not. You hear a screech. Your last point is not spent in vain.
I wonder if these guard lose their milkiness and stop being combative.
You don't detect that in them immediately after the shot hit home.
Okay, there's a grimace on Melody's face then. And says
Yeah.
we need to charge this, she says to Marduk.
I hear you. Do you want me to take the guards and clear the path for you, or should I
Chuck a spear in there.
All right, gotcha.
The captain of the guard still has unclear eyes, and he attacks you again, Marduk. He is having a hard time on this very dangerous slope, and he rolls a 10, which again completely misses you. And he's not frustrated. He's not upset. He's, again, just kind of dazed. Melody, one of the guards that you're actually adjacent to, not the captain of the guard, but you're actually adjacent to one other guard, he turns around, draws out a long sword, and attempts to attack you.
Try to get the crossbow between us, but it's all up to AC. Here goes.
He goes ahead and makes his attack roll, and I am rolling so shitty tonight, it's not even funny, except on the damage rolls. I rolled a 2, plus 3 for the attack is a 5, Melody, so he basically just takes a swipe at you, off balance, and misses pathetically. The last one guardsman, because one is unconscious, sleeping, is continuing to push stones and boulders into place to block the entrance. And that takes us back to the Broodmother and the Harpies. There is silence coming from the cave entrance.
I'm going to do it.
Go
I'm
for it.
itching to knock this branch down. I guess I tell Timber to give people a heads up, an advantage to get out of the way. And I let loose with an Eldritch Blast on the rest of this branch.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack roll. Trying to get it to fall a certain way and hit it in a certain spot. The armor class of the tree is going to be 13.
I believe in you, Grodar.
I think I can do it. 15.
15 is a hit, so the branch does fall, and the damage is enough. It's 6 the first time and 4 the second time, which is exactly 10.
Grodor's crackling beam of energy splits the air across the battlefield, striking the tree branch and knocking it into the many soul guard he's aiming at.
The branch falling, it's not a very high distance. Go ahead and roll 1 die 4 for damage 3 times. 2, 3, 2. 2 to the captain of the guard, 3 to the one threatening Melody, and 2 to the one still trying to cover up the entrance.
Do they have to do a dex not to get pushed away by this falling timber? That's why I rolled, because I figured that it was coming our way.
I'll go ahead and give them an athletics check. The captain of the guard has a +5. I'm looking for just a simple 12 to succeed. He rolled a 14, so that's a 19. The next guard, he rolled an 11, so he definitely slips down a bit. And the next one rolled a 12 and steadied. So the one that was attacking you, Mel, slid down 5 feet. He only missed by 1 and is right next to you instead of being at the entrance to the cavern. And that takes us to Marduk at 17.
If I move above the guard where the entrance begins, do I have a view into the cave?
You definitely have a view in the cave. If you moved 5 foot diagonally to the northeast,
Right.
you'd be right next to the entrance of the cave.
Okay, I will do that. Do I need to roll an athletics check?
If you move 5 feet and 5 feet only, it's not. But because you're engaged in combat, if you make an athletics check, he will not get an opportunity attack.
I rolled a 19.
Okay, you skillfully were able to keep an on guard position while you clambered your way up 5 feet towards the cave entrance.
Amira smiles upon me, and orcs are good climbers. I look into the cave, and do I see the broodmother?
You have dark vision, do you not?
I do.
What you see is a cave. It looks like it's a natural cave. You see what looks to be 3 nests that are pretty large-sized nests. You see a tunnel going off into the distance, and you see forms moving in that tunnel.
Away from me or toward me?
Away from you. They're at a distance, so it's a little bit difficult to gauge. And plus, they're in a row, like it's a narrower tunnel. So you know they're not flying. You know they're clambering on their talons, and they're moving away from you, but you're not sure how many there are. You can at least see the back of one and maybe another past that.
Were they all smaller forms, or were they the size of the broodmother?
They look to be medium creatures.
But
From
they're
the back,
running away from me.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if the broodmother is one of them, but it looks to you like they could be slightly smaller.
Okay.
Tough call.
Then I turn back to the captain and say, sorry, pal, I've got the high ground. And then I butt him in the forehead with my spear.
All right, go ahead and make your attack roll.
I rolled a 16.
You pull your spear back and you thrust it forward, and just as you do, one of your feet slip out a bit from you, and it just changes the trajectory of your attack. And you end up clipping him on the shoulder, and then it goes past his head. So
Okay.
you just missed. You should have hit him. You felt like you were right on him, but you just missed.
Okay.
Basically, his AC was 17.
No
You rolled
problem.
a 16. Takes us to Alder at 17.
I also report that they're escaping into a tunnel deeper into the cave.
I move 5 feet, and then I use cunning action
Okay.
to move 5 feet again.
All right. To the northeast again, so diagonally up the hill. You're making good progress. You are now engaged with the soul guard who slipped down the hill when the branch struck him and is standing next to Melody.
Right. And I am hitting him with my rapier in the stomach. However, I am doing it with the hilt, not with the point.
As Alder passes, Gabrielle asks, shall I pursue the Harpies?
Probably not a bad idea.
Are we leaving them to escape?
Somehow I feel revenge is something I'd like.
If they had another way out, they would have used it, so they're just hiding farther back in the tunnels.
Yikes. I rolled the natural 1. I am going to spend my last inspiration to do that again.
Yes, that was not good.
17 instead of 7.
Go ahead and roll for damage.
Okay. The total number of damage was 10. I take the hilt, smash him in the stomach, and when he buckles over, go up with the hilt and smash him underneath the chin, hopefully knocking him out.
Very close. He staggers. The only reason he didn't fall over was because his back is at a steep incline. So he kind of like fell back into the cliff face and then takes one arm and pushes himself forward. He's bleeding profusely from his nose and mouth where your hilt hit him. There's a tooth that he spits out. He looks very, very wounded, but not quite
Okay.
down.
That is my turn.
Gabrielle.
Deciding that it's time to get serious about catching up to something so very far away and not wanting to deal with this, Gabrielle lets loose a shout, and her wings erupt from her back. I'm going to describe them this time since there are people to see it.
It is shocking.
Indeed, they are beautiful, luminous wings, everything a slightly see-through piece of shining light. Each individual feather is white, with the inside facing her back, nice sky blue. 4 wings are up from her back, 2 from her upper back, and 2 from her lower back, roughly attached to where the ribs would root. Those ones are gigantic, like far larger than the ones up top, which are roughly the size of a regular bird's. And then she flies 60 feet, double move, up and above the people and down into the cave if I can. I'm not quite sure how far away it is with vertical and horizontal accumulated.
It was about 70 foot up. You are about 10 feet up. So you fly, and I'm not going to subtract for the distance move towards the cliff wall because it's another 15, 20 feet towards a sheer cliff wall. where you're more on the rock slide part of it at an angle downward.
I think Pythagoras got you there.
Yeah, Pythagoras definitely got her. But you take flight. This is still very new to you.
Mm-hmm.
You shoot upward, find the entrance, tuck your wings in tightly, and land on your feet at the beginning of the cave entrance. You come to a rest inside and can see, much like Marduk did, the size of the room is probably about 50 foot in circumference. Darkened walls, there's moss growing on the walls, there's 3 nests that look like they're human-sized, that are very poorly put together. The smell is awful. But 50 feet away, you see a cavern passageway leading directly deeper north into the hill. In that passageway, you can just make out one form that is moving away from you.
Do your wings light anything up?
They say they're luminous, but it doesn't say that they emit low light. However, now that it's pretty clear that I'm not a regular human, I can see in the dark just fine.
Yes, which is why you're able to see that deeply into the cave.
As Gabrielle sprouts wings, flies over Melody and I and lands at the cave entrance,
She does
I look over.
wave as she does so.
I look over at Melody and go, "That's new. Do you know anything about that?"
Shrugs. I don't have time to talk about it.
Gotcha.
You're in the middle of blocking a sword strike with a crossbow as well.
Yeah, but you always have time to comedically shrug.
Okay, that takes us to Melody, who is engaged in combat.
I am gonna dip from this combat. I'm gonna move 5 feet, no roll there, and then use my acrobatics to slip through these cracks in the cavern into it.
Okay, you're going to need to make an acrobatics check, first of all, not to give an opportunity attack, because climbing while engaged in combat definitely provokes an opportunity attack.
Even while using the disengage action?
Even while using the
Disengage
disengage
towards
action.
people.
You can
It needs to be
disengage.
5 feet away from being engaged, not 5 feet into a totally different engagement.
Yeah, you're moving to another engagement, first of all, from one engagement further down the rock slide with the standard guardsmen. You're still engaged with the captain of the guard, who is engaged with Marduk a little bit higher up. So there's that. And then when you are climbing and using acrobatics to get over these rocks and get into the cave entrance, you're actually using that as your action. So you can't really take the disengage action because you're spending all your focus and energy on climbing up these rocks, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I might get hit, but at least it's not falling down because I only moved 5 feet. That can't happen as a result. Here we go.
Big number.
9 is not big, and I'm not me.
Can I give you inspiration to not fall?
Or can I assist in any way?
I'm going to say you can't assist Marduk because you already took an action this turn, and the help action is a action that you take. So you basically forego your action on your turn in order to help someone else.
This is in order to not get hit, so I can get scathed and make my way through, or no?
This was just to try to do it to not provoke opportunity attacks.
Okay.
Yeah, because you were only moving 5 feet, so
Yeah.
Right.
you
can't
fall.
I have one last inspiration I can share with them, though.
So do I. I got more, but yeah.
Then maybe a sizzling bolt keeps them at distance, but that could be your assist if you wish, Grodor.
I do that.
Okay. Go ahead
you.
and make another roll, Mel, to see how well the sizzling bolt distracted them.
About 9.
That equals 18, doesn't it, if you add them together?
I mean,
tried.
that's not how this game works, but yes.
Because you just barely failed by 5. Only one of the two gets the opportunity attack against you, not both of them.
Do it.
So the captain of the guard is facing completely in an opposite direction. He's focused on Marduk. So the guardsman gets an attack. And he only rolled an 8. That's plus 3 is 11. I'm assuming 11 does not hit you, Melody.
No, does he slip and break his neck?
You gotta roll the will check.
Damn that will check.
Well,
He
if
has
this
to
was
roll
the
a
will check, he just failed.
I'm going to say that was the attack anyways. I said it was the attack. The will check wasn't. He couldn't attack you anyways.
Yeah, anytime you
rolled
reroll, it's the
miserable.
same number.
My terrible sub 10 rolling tonight continues. He couldn't even think about attacking you. You are
right.
just such a bastion of virtue. And
His
goodness.
friend drops a rock behind me, and I blow a raspberry, and I'm in the cave, and my eyes glow like a dark amber hue, and
Go
I
and make
can
it.
see
Mine are
in the
glowing
dark as
blue.
well, because no
Okay.
one here cannot see in the dark.
Go ahead and make yourself a acrobatics check to jump up that last 5 feet, grab onto the ledge, and pull yourself up.
I'm on the same level that people were blocking the entrance at. I thought that was where the entrance was.
The entrance, if you look above, if you look at the map,
I think you need to delete your
rocks.
giant rectangle for me to see anything, but...
Yeah, you know what? I need to delete the giant rectangle. It's not serving any purpose. See the rock above you? Kind of like another 5 feet or so?
I guess.
I would think you could jump up that and crawl your way into it for dramatic effect.
You can do it.
Dramatic effect is one thing. Rolling is another.
Come on, have faith.
I don't.
You're due for a good roll.
You're due for an acrobatics roll. You're not going to roll 9 again.
Fuck you.
You jump up the last few feet and your hands grasp the cave entrance, but you don't have the strength to pull yourself up. You find yourself dangling from the entrance to the cave, and you are almost there. But you are not quite inside. You are. And maybe you pull yourself up to where your eyes are looking in, and you can see with your dark vision, which you shouldn't have, into the cavern, and you see the same thing that Marduk and Gabrielle saw, which is a harpy of some sort clambering away at a distance down a hallway.
Okay.
Sorry. The soul guard are up. The first soul guard next to Alder, who couldn't bring it upon himself to attack the kind and saintly Melody because of Gabrielle's incantations, will go ahead and attack Alder. And my rolling continues. I rolled a 7. I have not rolled in double digits, I think, for most of this night. So that is a 10 to hit Alder, and I'm sure that does not.
No, he swings at me, and I just slap it away with my sword. And say, go to sleep.
He would, believe me, he would like to. The guard that is still picking rocks up and trying to block the entrance sees that Melody is next to him and thinks, wow, what a prime target that would be to hit.
Yeah, shame she rolled a 6.
Well, shame she rolled a 6, but he has to roll to attack you, and he has to beat a 12, and he gets a +0 on his roll. And I rolled a 4. It continues, and he can't bring it upon himself to attack you, so he is going to not attack. He's going to not draw out his sword, and he's going to just put another rock in place and try to block that entranceway as best he can, but he's fighting a losing battle. Captain of the guard is going to go ahead and attack Marduk, who has been his main foe throughout this battle, and he rolls a 3. And that is +5 for a total of 8, which is still a miss.
Marduk has the high ground. Come on.
And Marduk has the high ground, exactly. At this point, I think we should probably call it for the night, and we will follow up this 3-session battle next week and see how it all plays out. Thank you all for listening tonight. I appreciate you being with us for this battle and then negotiation and then battle again. And thank you to all the players. I appreciate everyone taking the time tonight to give their efforts and to join the great role playing there was tonight and the great battle as well.
Cool.
Thank you for listening to Knights of the Night Actual Play Podcast. If you'd like to send us a question, comment, or feedback, you can reach us in a number of ways, including Twitter @KOTN_podcast or by emailing us at feedback@KOTNpodcast.com. And don't forget the iTunes reviews. We also have a Facebook page which can be found at facebook.com/KOTN.podcast. While on Facebook, you can join like-minded folks at our fan page at facebook.com/groups/KOTNfan. And lastly, there's our blog at KOTNpodcast.com, where there's an Amazon link on the right-hand side for those of you who'd like a more steady way to help us pay the bills. Or if you live outside the U.S., you can help by donating to our Patreon page at patreon.com/KOTN. And please remember to join us next week for more mystery and adventure.
Okay, that takes us to Melody.
Oh, wait, no, it doesn't.
Sorry.
I didn't
doesn't
move.
Take us to Melody.
That was a bonus action, so you can still move and do a regular one.
Yeah, 5, 10. These rocks, I will describe what I'm doing when I'm done, but these rocks to my right, that's difficult terrain?
That is.
Alright. 15, 20, 25, 30.
It sounds like if you take them as double movement, then you don't have to roll, but you can roll to try to do a regular speed.
Thomas?
I'm fine not to do that.
Thomas?
Yes?
On your mute button where it's got the up arrow, if you click on that and at the bottom it says audio settings, click on that. And under audio, if you can change your suppress background noise from auto to high, it might be helpful.
Might be, or it might make everything sound really bad, which is what we found the first week.
It did. This is a screaming week, though, so perhaps.
But he,
Hold on.
I'm muted. Okay, sorry about that.
that's okay.
I will ask again. How high is the top of that ridge from where I'm at right now, where she's located?
You are standing on the ground. You haven't
Right.
actually started climbing the rocks, so it's about 80 feet above you.
Okay, so she's 80 feet above me.
You did hear Alder tell her that we're gonna let's talk instead of let's fight.
Yeah, it would be pretty hard to not hear with the.
Well,
with
I don't-
the I see what you're saying. Yeah.
He might have been at the computer when he did
No,
that thing.
that's a very good. I'm glad you said something because I was pointing my spear ready to fire a firebolt.
Yeah, I rolled a natural 20 in convincing her to come and talk.
All right, then I will.
Don't let the peace overture stop you.
Yeah. Well, I was feeling my magic and and I was going to get to burn her down. But thank you for putting the 80 feet. So that changes things, and then
I attack Marduk. No,
We need to go. We need to go. And the brood mother, no, we stay here.
Scott, we couldn't hear that. It was really muffled.
Oh wow, okay. I'm right next to my.
I mean, I couldn't hear it. I don't know if anybody else
I
could.
couldn't hear it either.
It's just because it got too soft.
And everyone can take a bio break if they need to. I'll be right back.
I'll be hanging out.
Do you think, Mel, if I dropped this branch, would it sweep these guys away? And if I give you a heads up, it would give you an advantage to get out of the way?
Might give me an advantage, but Scott's a GM, so I'm going to take damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would also be worried just because one of these three dudes is asleep, which means he gets to wake up if you hurt him. And
That's
the
true.
other two...
And he had few enough hit points that he might just die.
Yeah, all four... Well, no, if Jim does the last HP, he gets to decide whether it's a knockout.
Yeah, and then here's Scott. I'm Scott. I mean, if you did the damage, that would be your choice, but you're not
But
the
the
branch down.
tree did the damage.
Here's Mel's point. I don't doubt that these creatures can be reasonable, but this one was a
Is
bitch. So let's.
Gabrielle, those are it. God spoke through her mouth, and the Harpy didn't even listen. What are you going to do?
no.
I
Let's
exemplify a miracle for your life, bitch, and you wasted it.
Let's send the young to be raised in Iron Sword Pass, and maybe they can become reasonable citizens.
Maybe make them scouts.
Right. Yeah.
We can fascism these into some soldiers. We can do
Yeah. Exactly. Just raise them from young to worship the state, and
it. We killed your mother, but don't worry about it. It was God's will.
She was a bitch. She
Trust
was.
us.
God gave her a chance to be reasonable, and she
Are
said
we talking
no.
about harpy babies?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna send them to be raised in Iron Sword Pass and ignore the dead one that I killed, and just say, "Oh, casualties of war, huh?"
This is your first lesson in resilience.
I tell you, just from the mind of the DM, I never know how long things are going to take. It's always really confusing. And this battle raged and then stopped and then raged again.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting thing is, I was busting my ass this afternoon, planning 3 more because I thought this was going to be a quick little whatever and then move on. It's just so funny because you plan so far ahead, you try to make sure you have everything covered for contingency, and then one battle just takes the whole night. And
That's D&D for you.
That's GMing for you.
that's what you get for planning, Scott.
You should get to harvest that stuff for the next 2 sessions or so.
Right, if it gets into play is absolutely correct.
I would also like to say that Mel probably should have got an attack for opportunity attack on the guy who just slid next to her.
You know, usually when people are moved without intentionally doing so,
I'm gonna
the game
disagree,
tends
too.
to forgive them.
Just because I used my reaction already to rebound that shot, and that's what attack of opportunity is.
Right, it is a reaction.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
and usually when you get moved, if someone does a shield charge into you and pushes you back 5 feet and you were engaged with someone, they don't get an attack of opportunity on you. They don't get an opportunity attack. It's just normal movement. It doesn't provoke that opportunity attack, which is why I didn't do it. But it's a good point, Jim, and I think it's worth mentioning at least. But
Gotcha.
I'm going to go not so much on this particular instance.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Other possible titles for this episode were available for voting in the Facebook KOTN fan page, and they were That All Came From a Hammer from My Best Friend. What is acrobatic if not climbing up a wall? You always have time for a comedic shrug. I've got the high ground. I was scared of you. That's a great talent of Gabrielle. And her wings erupt from her back.